In this short episode, I want to dive into the world of artificial intelligence and particularly the key regulations by both the European Union and the United States. Whether you're an industry professional or just curious about AI, this episode is going to highlight the recent AI compliance updates in both regions. But before I do that, I would love to invite you to join our beta release for openbuild.ai. We are building a multi-channel AI chatbot that lets you build and train your own bot based on your data sources and then launch it on your own channel of choice, be it your own website, Facebook, Instagram, your own SMS number, and much more. Again, it's openbuild.ai and we'll ensure to send you an email once the release is out. First up, let's talk about the EU AI Act. This new regulation went into effect on July 1st, 2024, and it's set to impact how AI is developed and used across European countries. The first point you need to know is they have something called risk-based classification. How do they classify the businesses that are deploying AI in their current operations? The three categories that they've classified is one, unacceptable risk. This means it bans certain AI applications like social scoring by governments. Second are high-risk AI systems, and these includes areas like critical infrastructure and law enforcement. These systems, they need rigorous risk assessment, transparency, and human oversight so they can run successfully. They must be registered and pass conformity assessment, of course, by the European Union. And finally, the third category are low-risk AI systems to face minimal requirements but must still adhere to transparency and data protection standards. Most of you will probably fall in the low-risk AI systems unless you're working for government or law enforcement or you're developing these large models that could be deployed by these channels. The second point of the EU AI Act is the governance and enforcement. So European Artificial Intelligence Board, that's a new long term they use now, EAIB, oversees the implementation and enforcement of this act. So they have a governing body that overlooks all this sort of compliance across the board. And also the national authorities that handle day-to-day compliance and enforcement in member states. The third point is the global influence. This act is likely to set a precedent and influence global AI regulation, potentially shaping how other regions in the world will approach AI compliance. So what are the key aspects of US AI compliance? One is fragmented regulations. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, as we know it, regulates the consumer protection and fairness, including some aspects of AI transparency and ethics. You also have the Food Administration, the FDA, oversees all the AI in healthcare and medical devices, ensuring safety and efficacy. Finally, you have the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, that regulates AI in autonomous vehicles, focusing on safety and performance. So they narrowed it down to these three fragmented regulations to cover the majority of how AI is going to impact us on the grand scale in those main categories: transportation, trade, and Food and Drug Administration. The second part are ethics and transparency. There are no overreaching federal standards for AI ethics and transparency, but agencies encourage best practices in their respective sectors. So this makes it a lot more forgiving than the EU AI, which is over-encompassing to all the EU countries. And then last, the data protection and privacy. When it comes to the US privacy regulations, it's varying by sector and by state. For example, California Consumer Privacy Act, CPA, is different than that one in New York. Although they all share an overarching kind of basics, how to handle data and how to store data, but overall every state has its own regulations and compliance, so it's a lot more fragmented. AI systems must comply with these existing privacy laws at the local level. Why you should care about both? Well, let's start with global operations. If your business operates internationally, understanding both EU and US regulations is crucial to ensure compliance in these different markets. The second are ethical consideration. Both regulations emphasize the importance of ethical AI use, but they do so in different ways. So the EU Act is more comprehensive, while the US regulations are more fragmented. If you want to do business and you are using AI or building AI products, you'll find more flexibility inside the US than in the EU. Then you have the business impact. Because you have to follow these regulations to avoid any legal issues, including fines and being suspended altogether, you also want to build trust with consumers by ensuring responsible AI in use. A lot of people have been talking about compliance in AI, ethical issues, limitations of AI. So understanding those new EU AI Act and the US AI Act that are taking place are essential for any good business. So that's it. That wraps up our review of the AI regulation in EU and US. If you're navigating compliance or just staying informed, knowing the key provisions in both regions is very, very important. Thank you so much for watching this short segment, and I hope to see you on the upcoming update. Thank you.